There exists knowledge not meant for the masses, truths guarded in temple silence and whispered among those who understood power's true nature. Knowledge so potent that its mere revelation can alter reality's fabric. You haven't arrived at this message by chance. You've been guided by your soul's yearning, by the persistent feeling that the world you see isn't the complete truth. You've found the key to knowledge that was waiting for you. This is the forbidden secret knowledge of the 33rd degree that Florence Scovel Shinn reserved for her most advanced students. The moment you choose to hear these words, you're not simply learning. You're participating in a ritual. You're breaking the seal of illusion that kept you believing you're a victim of circumstances, that reality is solid, external, and immutable. Throughout the 10 revelations in this manual, you won't find complex theories or dogmas to accept blindly. You'll discover creation's operating principles, the laws consciousness uses to shape energy. Each chapter is a key designed to open a new door in perception, to return power that was always yours but had been forgotten. You'll discover the universe isn't something that happens to you, but something that responds to you. And you'll learn to emit the correct signal so it bends not to your whim, but to your soul's highest vision. The knowledge you're about to receive cannot be unlearned. Once the seal breaks, reality never returns to what it was. You'll see the hidden mechanics behind coincidences. You'll understand your inner state's power and recognize your role not as a pawn on life's board, but as the player moving the pieces. This isn't a promise of a life without challenges. It's the promise of a life without powerlessness. It's the delivery of tools with which you can sculpt any circumstance, transmute any obstacle, and build, with an architect's precision, the reality you choose to experience. Before continuing, I want you to write in the comments, "I accept the 33rd degree knowledge." This simple declaration is your initiation seal. By writing it, you're declaring to the universe that you're ready to receive truths that will transform your existence forever. Each person writing this phrase joins an invisible brotherhood of conscious creators, forming a power network that amplifies everyone's manifestation. Chapter 1. The Law of the Mirror. Why your reality is your soul's echo. Forget everything you've been taught about a solid, external world separate from you. Forget the idea that you're a small, fragile vessel at the mercy of an indifferent ocean's waves. That's the great illusion, the hypnotic dream you're about to awaken from. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered the first, last, and only truth this knowledge reveals. The world you experience, your finances, relationships, health, daily coincidences, isn't an independent entity happening to you. It's an echo, a living mirror of impeccable and absolute honesty that reflects without filters, without judgment, and without delay the signal you're emitting every moment of your existence. Imagine yourself at the center of a vast, silent valley, surrounded by sacred mountains. Every sound you emit, from the loudest shout to the softest whisper, returns to you with impeccable precision. The valley doesn't judge your words, doesn't edit them, doesn't interpret them. It simply reflects. Your consciousness is the sound's source. Your state of being, the total sum of your thoughts, subconscious beliefs, and dominant emotions, is the song you sing in your soul's silence. And the universe, this great valley of echoes, reflects it back. If your inner song is a funeral march of fear and scarcity, the echo you'll hear in your circumstances' symphony will be unexpected bills, lost opportunities, and constant struggle. If your inner song is a hymn of love and certainty, the echo returning to you will be fortuitous encounters, opening doors, and a flow of grace and prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the person understanding this law stops fighting the echo, stops cursing the mountains. Trying to change your life's circumstances, your bank account, your partner's attitude, your medical diagnosis, without first changing your inner state, is as useless, exhausting, and maddening as shouting at the mountain to stop repeating your own words of frustration. The only place of power, the only point of creation, is the sound's source. That's you. To become a conscious creator, you must first become a master of the song you sing. The mechanics of reflection, the physics of resonance. This principle isn't poetic philosophy or self-help idea. It's a law of consciousness physics, as real as gravity. It operates through vibrational resonance principle, like a tuning fork that when struck makes other nearby tuning forks of the same frequency vibrate in sympathy. Your state of being emits a unique electromagnetic signature. Your heart, as we'll see, is the most powerful antenna, transmitting this signature to the quantum field, the invisible fabric connecting all things. And the quantum field, which is the mirror's material, is bound by law to organize energy and particles to correspond, to resonate with your emission. Florence Scovel Shinn expressed it thus: "You don't attract what you want with your surface mind. You attract what you are with your entire vibrational being." The mirror doesn't reflect your desires. It reflects your identity. The three great mirrors of life. This law manifests most clearly and often most painfully in the three great arenas of human experience. Learn to read these three mirrors, and you'll have deciphered 90% of your life's language. The mirror of abundance. Your finances, prosperity, relationship with money aren't a reflection of your effort, intelligence, worth as a person, or the economy's state. They're a direct and brutally honest reflection of your abundance consciousness. If your inner state is scarcity, if your habitual thoughts are worry about the future, if you feel a knot of contraction in your stomach when paying a bill, if you deeply believe money is hard to get or there isn't enough, that's the song you're emitting. And the universe, like a faithful mirror, will reflect a reality of unexpected bills, urgent repairs, opportunities vanishing at the last minute, and constant struggle to make ends meet. If, conversely, you cultivate an inner state of abundance, if you deliberately focus on gratitude for what you already have, if you feel serene confidence that your needs are always met, if you believe money is energy flowing easily to and through you, the mirror has no choice but to return a reality of unexpected opportunities, fortunate synchronicities, clients appearing from nowhere, and a constant flow of prosperity that seems miraculous to the untrained observer. The mirror of relationships. Your relationship's quality doesn't reflect other people's quality. It reflects with surgical precision the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that people don't treat you as you are. They treat you as you treat yourself. If you harbor deep feelings of unworthiness or a voice of relentless self-criticism, you'll attract to your life with magnetic precision people who will treat you with that same lack of respect, who will criticize you and make you feel small, reflecting and validating your own internal judgment. If you live in a state of abandonment, fear anchored in childhood wounds, you'll attract again and again partners who are emotionally unavailable, distant, or who ultimately leave, fulfilling your own painful prophecy. Conversely, when you cultivate a state of radical self-love, self-respect, and wholeness, when you enjoy your own company and stop needing others to validate you, you stop emitting the frequency of need. In that non-need, you become irresistibly magnetic to whole, secure, loving people who reflect the same wholeness you found within yourself. The mirror of health. Your physical body is the most intimate and literal mirror of all. It's a canvas painting at the cellular level, the image of your emotional state and dominant beliefs. A chronic state of stress, anger, or resentment isn't just a mental state. It's a biochemical state. It floods your body with hormones like cortisol that create inflammation, suppress the immune system, and shut down cellular repair mechanisms. The body, over time, reflects this internal disharmony as disease, chronic pain, accelerated aging. A state of peace, love, and joy creates healing biochemistry. It releases endorphins, serotonin, and other hormones that optimize your immune system, reduce inflammation, and activate longevity and regeneration genes. The body, a perfect mirror, reflects this inner harmony as vitality, well-being, and resilience. The first practice, the art of reading the reflection. Echo diagnosis. Your first practice isn't changing anything, it's understanding. It's the art of using your external reality as the most precise and honest diagnostic tool that exists. When you encounter an unwanted external circumstance, a financial crisis, relationship conflict, physical symptom, resist the programmed impulse to fall into complaint and victimization spiral. Instead, pause, breathe, become the scientist of your own consciousness. Take your journal and ask yourself the sacred question of the mirror law. If this external event is a perfect, non-judgmental mirror, what belief, emotional state, or inner song within me is it reflecting with such precision? Financial reality diagnosis. If your finances mirror shows constant scarcity, the question isn't, why don't I have money? The creator's question is, what's my inner song about money? Is it one of scarcity fear? Is it one of unworthiness? Is it the inherited belief that people like me don't get rich or that money is dirty? Be honest. Write the answer. Relationship diagnosis. If your relationship's mirror shows a pattern of abandonment, the question isn't, why does everyone leave me? The creator's question is, where am I abandoning myself? What part of me believes it's not worthy of constant, secure love? Am I myself running from true intimacy? Health diagnosis. If your body's mirror shows a recurring symptom, the question isn't, why is my body failing me? The creator's question is, what message is my body sending me? What unexpressed this emotion, anger, sadness am I suppressing? What belief of fragility am I holding? This act of honest inquiry is the first and most crucial step. It removes you from the role of helpless victim and places you in that of conscious creator, because you can only change what you're fully aware of. The second practice, the art of changing the image. The Origin Workshop. Florence Scovel. Shin taught that the fool is one who, seeing a stain on his face in the mirror, tries to clean the mirror with rage and frustration. The conscious creator knows the only place where change is possible and permanent is at the image's origin, in himself. Once you've read the reflection and diagnosed the belief or inner state causing it, you begin the real work. Reality re-imprinting work. This protocol has 3 phases. Clarifying the new image, the blueprint. It's not enough to know what you don't want. You must define with crystal clarity what you do choose. You use your disciplined imagination to construct within yourself the mental and sensory equivalent of the reality you choose. You create your scene of fulfilled desire, charged with details and emotion. Generating the new frequency, the music. With the blueprint clear, now you must generate the music. You deliberately practice, like a musician rehearsing a new piece, states of self-love, peace, gratitude, and harmony, knowing the world can only bring you people and conditions that resonate with your new inner song. Embodying the new identity, the musician. Finally, you become the person you want to attract. You don't wait to have money to feel abundant. You cultivate abundance so money arrives. You don't wait for the perfect partner to love yourself. You love yourself so the perfect partner appears. You become in your inner being the image you desire to see in the mirror. The third practice, the discipline of loyalty to the invisible, ignoring the delay. This is mastery practice. When you change your inner song, the mirror's reflection doesn't change instantly. There's a delay, a cosmic buffer. For a time, you'll continue seeing your old song's reflection while the universe reorganizes the scene. This is the most dangerous moment where most people abandon. They look at the mirror, see the old reflection, and conclude, it doesn't work. And in doing so, they return to singing the old song, aborting the process. Your practice is loyalty to the invisible. Once you've changed your inner image, you remain loyal to that new truth. Regardless of what the mirror temporarily shows you, when you look at your bank account and don't yet see abundance, you don't panic. You smile calmly and declare within, my inner reality is the cause. The outer reflection is an echo of the past that's already fading. I know what new image I'm projecting. This unshakable faith in your power as the image's source is what sustains the new vibration long enough for the mirror, by law, to have no choice but to update and reflect your new truth. Chapter 2. The Secret of Non-Resistance. How to Surrender to Conquer. When you resist a circumstance, feeling, or thought, you're making a fatal strategic error. You're giving your most precious resource, the divine currency with which you purchase reality, your attention. And as you know, what you focus your attention on grows. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that resisting poverty through constant fear and worry is focusing all your energy and observational power on poverty, feeding it, watering it, giving it strength to continue manifesting in your life. Resisting loneliness through desperation and longing is focusing all your energy on loneliness's vibration, magnifying it, and becoming a magnet for more of the same. Resisting a negative thought is entering war with it, giving it importance, solidity, and power it didn't possess when it was a simple fleeting spark. Imagine you're in a tug-of-war game with a monster called your problem. While you keep pulling the rope, while you keep resisting with all your strength, you're tied to it. All your energy is dedicated to it. You're facing it, and you can't move from that point. You might gain some ground, might drag it a few inches, but you're still in the same game, on the same muddy battlefield, spending all your life force in an endless struggle. The only way to win the tug-of-war game is to drop the rope. The moment you release your resistance, the moment you stop pulling, the monster that fed on your opposing force falls backward by its own inertia, loses all power over you, and you, for the first time, are free to turn and walk in a new direction toward a new game, a new field of creation. The anatomy of surrender. Supreme power. The word surrender has been profoundly misunderstood in our culture. We associate it with defeat, weakness, passivity, failure. But in the context of universal laws that Florence Scovel Shinn taught, surrender is the act of supreme power, the master's strategy. We must differentiate it from its poor, disempowered cousin, resignation. Resignation is the victim's state. It's born from powerlessness and hopelessness. It's the sigh of "I've fought, I can do nothing, so I give up." Its vibration is low frequency, defeat, contraction. It's dropping the rope because you no longer have strength. Surrender, in contrast, is the conscious creator's state. It's born from power and absolute confidence in the law. It's the serene declaration of "I've done my part," establishing intention and state of being. And now I trust superior intelligence to handle the rest in ways my limited mind cannot conceive. It's active faith. It's dropping the rope as a deliberate strategic movement. Surrendering isn't renouncing your power. It's renouncing the ego's illusion of control to allow a much greater power, the universe's power, to act through and for you. The way of water. Wu Wei wisdom. Florence Scovel Shinn, like ancient Taoist sages, found the perfect metaphor for this law in nature's observation. Water. Water is Earth's softest and weakest substance. It has no form of its own, always yields, always adapts to the container holding it, but simultaneously is the most powerful and persistent force. Over time, water's gentleness can erode the hardest rock, can carve canyons in stone. Water never fights, never attacks an obstacle head-on. It simply flows around it. If it encounters a rock in its path, it doesn't try to break it with brute force. It surrounds it, embraces it, and continues its journey to the sea. Its power doesn't reside in rigidity, but in fluidity, adaptability, non-resistance. This is the Wu Wei principle, often translated as effortless action. It's the art of achieving the greatest results not through force, tension, and confrontation, but through intelligent alignment with life's natural flow. Imagine two swordsmen. The first is all force and rigidity. His muscles are tense. His mind is fixed on an attack plan. His technique is predictable. The second is like water. His body is relaxed. His movements are fluid, unpredictable, responding to the moment. The first swordsman attacks with immense force. The second doesn't resist. He doesn't clash his sword against his opponent's. He yields, deflects the blow with a subtle movement, and uses his opponent's own force and momentum to unbalance and defeat him. He's won the battle having barely spent his own energy. He's conquered through non-resistance. The first practice. The art of accepting what is. Dropping the rope. The first and most powerful act of non-resistance is radical acceptance of the present moment. This doesn't mean you like it, approve of it, or want your current circumstances to continue forever. It means you stop wasting precious energy in the useless war of wishing things were different right now than they are. Your practice is witnessing without judgment. When facing an unwanted situation, an unexpected bill, partner's criticism, physical symptom, traffic, your first programmed instinct will be resistance, complaint, fear, anger, frustration. In that moment, pause, breathe, and instead of fighting present reality, simply observe it. Say internally with sovereign calm, "This is what is now." Don't say "this is terrible" or "this is good." Simply, "this is." Feel resistance emotion in your body, chest tension, stomach knot, but don't identify with it. Observe it like a cloud passing through your consciousness sky. This simple act of acceptance removes all energy from the problem. You've dropped the tug-of-war rope. The circumstance monster, deprived of your resistance, loses power over you. And in that liberation space, in the calm following acceptance, for the first time, you have clarity and power to respond to the situation with wisdom, instead of reacting to it with your programming's panic. The second practice, the art of releasing the how, intelligent surrender. Once you've accepted the present, you must surrender the future. The practice is surrendering the how. You've planted your desire's seed in your consciousness. You've defined the what with crystal clarity. Now you must completely release your attachment to how and when it will manifest. The ego, in its need for control, creates a rigid, linear plan. Money must come through this job. Love must come from this person. Healing must happen with this treatment. This rigidity is a dam in creation's river that blocks the infinite and often miraculous ways the universe could deliver your good. Intelligent surrender is the act of dismantling that dam. It's a trust ritual. In your meditation, after holding your vision, you perform a symbolic act of surrender. You imagine your desire as a sphere of light, and with a feeling of deep relief and trust, you deliver it to universal intelligence, to your higher self. There you declare, "I trust your wisdom. Manifest this or something better in the perfect way and perfect time. I release my control. I'm open to your miracles. Thank you, because it's already done." In doing this, you give the universe freedom to use its infinite resources and immense creativity to bring your desire in a way your logical, limited mind could never have conceived. The third practice, the art of blessing. The obstacle, difficulties alchemy. Finally, non-resistance's highest practice is obstacle alchemy. You not only stop resisting challenges, you learn to love them and extract their wisdom. When you encounter a closed door, a no from the universe, an apparent failure, instead of seeing it as punishment, you see it as divine redirection. Your practice is blessing. Before the obstacle, instead of cursing it, you bless it. You declare, "I bless this apparent obstacle. I know it's a sign, lesson, or protection for my highest good. I'm grateful for the wisdom it contains and open myself to understand its message." This act of blessing transmutes the obstacle's energy from frustration to curiosity and faith. It makes you the universe's partner, not its adversary. It allows you to ask the alchemist's questions. What is this protecting me from? What is it preparing me to receive? Toward what greater good is it redirecting me? The fourth practice, finding the yes in the no, soul aikido. This is the master's practice. Every time you feel strong resistance, a visceral no toward something in your life, you understand that resistance isn't the problem, it's the compass. Your resistance is the signal that a sacred yes within you is being violated. If you feel immense resistance to your job, don't focus on hating the job. Ask yourself, what sacred yes is this no protecting? Perhaps the answer is my yes to creativity, to freedom, to purposeful work. If you feel resistance toward a relationship dynamic, ask yourself, what's my sacred yes here? Perhaps it's my yes to respectful communication, to peace, to feeling valued. Once you've identified the underlying yes, your focus changes. You stop fighting the no, the job, the partner, and start moving toward the yes, creativity, peace. Resistance stops being an obstacle and becomes your clearest guidance system. Chapter 3. The Inner Eye, Imagination as Reality's Architect. The untrained mind, product of a rationalist culture that distrusts the invisible, has relegated imagination to children's and artists' corner. It sees it as fantasy, daydreaming that takes us away from real life. It's considered, at best, harmless entertainment, and at worst, a form of self-deception. But Florence Scovel Shinn, initiated in creation's secrets, knew the truth. Imagination isn't an escape from reality. It's the workshop where reality is forged. Every great human achievement, from the most imposing cathedral to the most moving symphony, from the bridge uniting two continents to the rocket traveling to stars, first existed as a clear, detailed, sustained image in someone's imagination. Imagination isn't fantasy. It's consciousness's quantum simulator, the universe architect's design room, the portal through which the field's invisible potential becomes a tangible possibility in mind. To use this tool with mastery, we must make a crucial distinction. Fantasy is passive. It's a movie we watch in our mind, often without control, a flow of images that entertains, distracts, or frightens us. Fantasy is often a symptom of lack, an escape from a present reality that doesn't satisfy us. Creative imagination, disciplined visualization, is active. It's the deliberate act of constructing a mental scene with defined purpose. It's not watching a movie. It's being the screenwriter, director, and main actor of that movie. It's a rehearsal in mind's theater. Persistent daydreams, those visions of a better life that won't abandon you, aren't your whims. They're blueprints the universal architect, your own soul, is sending you. Your job is learning to read them, refine them, and hold them with faith. The physics of imagination. How an image becomes fact. Imagination's power isn't superstition. It's a law of mind, a process operating through precise neurobiological and metaphysical mechanisms. The brain as ultimate simulator. Your brain cannot clearly distinguish between an experience occurring in the external world, perceived through your five senses, and an experience you're living with sensory and emotional intensity in your inner world. For your nervous system, both are real. When you perform an act in your imagination, you're activating the same neural circuits, releasing the same cascade of peptides and hormones that would activate if you were performing the action physically. You're creating new neural networks, new highways in your mind's landscape. When an Olympic athlete visualizes the perfect race 1,000 times in their mind, they're sending the same electrical signals to their muscles as if they were running. They're creating muscle memory without moving, training their nervous system for success. When you, in your mind's theater, vividly rehearse the experience of your fulfilled desire, you're not simply dreaming. You're rewiring your brain, building neural highways of your new reality, making the path to it familiar and easy to travel for your body and mind, creating a memory of the future. The result of this repeated mental rehearsal is creating a memory of the future. Your brain is normally an archive of the past. Its main function is using that archive to predict and therefore create your future based on the law of least resistance. If your past is full of failures, your brain will project a future of failures. By visualizing creatively, you're hacking this system. You're acting as a time traveler. You travel to the desired future, experience it fully, then return to the present. But you bring back a vivid memory of that future. You're deliberately installing a new memory in your brain's archive, a memory of an event that in the three-dimensional plane hasn't yet occurred. Once this memory is installed through repetition and emotion, your brain accepts it as fact. And since the brain's job is creating coherence between your inner and outer world, it will begin directing your perceptions, making you notice opportunities you previously ignored, your decisions, taking risks you previously feared, and your behaviors in a way that aligns with that new memory to recreate it in the external world. You're giving your subconscious giant a new blueprint and new reference memory. You stop creating from your past and start creating from your future. The chemistry of embodiment. The inner pharmacy. Your body, which is your mind's physical expression, responds instantly to images you hold. It's your inner pharmacy, and your images are the prescriptions you give it. By imagining your success, your body produces confidence and joy chemistry, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. By imagining your healing, your body can produce regeneration and homeostasis chemistry, optimizing your immune system. By imagining failure and worry, which is also an act of imagination, your body produces stress chemistry, cortisol, and adrenaline. Through creative imagination, you're teaching your body at the cellular level how your new reality feels. And this feeling, as we've seen, is the magnetic frequency attracting manifestation. You're becoming biochemically the person who has already achieved their desire, closing the vibrational gap between you and your goal. The first practice, forging the perfect scene, creating the quantum mold. For your imaginary act to have maximum potency to impress the subconscious mind, it must be forged with clear precision and intention. It can't be a long, rambling scene. It must be a quantum mold, a perfectly carved jewel, a 5 to 10-second trailer of your finished movie. The scene you construct in your mind must fulfill 4 fundamental laws. The law of final result, living from the conclusion. Never, ever visualize the process, the how, the path to reach your desire. Visualizing the process often implies visualizing possible obstacles and struggle, creating a contradictory signal. Instead, always visualize the final result consummated. Don't imagine yourself struggling to write the book. Imagine yourself holding the already printed book in your hands, feeling the paper's weight and smelling the ink. Don't imagine going through job interviews. Imagine yourself in conversation with your loved one, telling them with overflowing joy, "I got the job." This act of living from the end is the most potent declaration of faith. It tells the subconscious the goal has already been achieved, and its only job is filling in the how details to get us there. The law of first person, the creator's point of view. Don't watch a movie of yourself from outside, as if you were a spectator in a cinema. You are the protagonist. The scene is always lived through your own eyes. Don't see yourself receiving a hug. Feel that person's arms around you. Smell their perfume. Feel their body's warmth against yours. Don't see yourself driving the new car. Feel your hands on the leather steering wheel. See the dashboard in front of you. Hear the engine's sound. Seeing it in third person is dissociation. Living it in first person is association and embodiment. You're telling your nervous system, this isn't happening to him or her, it's happening to me now. The law of sensory richness, the body's language. The subconscious is the body's mind, and its native language is the 5 senses. To convince it a scene is real, it must be sensorially rich. When forging your scene, give yourself a sensory check. What do I see specifically? Colors, shapes, lights, someone's facial expression? What do I hear? Voices, music, ambient sounds, the sound of your own laughter. What do I feel on my skin? An object's texture, air temperature, another person's touch. What do I smell or taste? Coffee's aroma, celebration meal's taste, flowers' perfume. The more sensory details you include, the more real the experience becomes for your nervous system, and the more deeply the new memory is recorded. The law of emotional impregnation. Reality's seal. Finally, and most importantly, the scene must be impregnated with the feeling of fulfilled desire. A sensorially rich but emotionally empty scene is like a beautiful body without soul. It has no magnetic power. The image is the mold. The feeling is the substance filling and solidifying it. The emotion of gratitude, relief, joy, peace is the signature sealing creation. It's the save command recording the new memory in your subconscious. Before ending your visualization, always ask yourself, what's this scene's dominant feeling? And you immerse yourself in that feeling, Amplify it, let it flood every cell of your being. The second practice, nocturnal projection, subconscious impression. Florence Scovel. Shin knew the most receptive canvas, the moment when the subconscious is most open to receiving a new blueprint without the inner critic's interference, is the drowsy, hypnagogic state just before falling asleep. The Quantum Lullaby Protocol. Preparation. The last hour before sleep is sacred. You avoid screens, news, and stressful conversations. You prepare your system to enter programming mode. Entering the workshop. You lie in bed, in darkness and silence. You completely relax your body. You feel yourself sinking into the bed, floating. This is the portal, the moment when the logical mind's guardian begins to drowse. Projection and loop. Now, with gentle intention, without forcing, you enter your scene, short, 5 to 10 seconds and perfect, that you've already forged. You live it in first person with all your senses, and above all, with all your emotion. You feel the signed document's texture, hear the congratulatory word, feel the gratitude wave in your chest. And then the curtain falls. You return to the brief scene's beginning and repeat it again and again like a lullaby, like a gentle sensory and emotional mantra, until the scene becomes so real and familiar that you fall asleep within it. This act of impregnating the subconscious mind just before sleep is the most potent manifestation act that exists. It's delivering the finalized blueprint to the master builder just before they begin their 8-hour shift in constructing your world. The third practice, the daytime snapshot, memory reinforcement. Nighttime work is powerful, but during the day, old programming and external reality will try to drag you back to the old memory. You must reinforce the new memory. The Quantum Snapshot Protocol. Several times a day, you take 60 seconds. Set an alarm if necessary. Close your eyes wherever you are and reproduce your perfect scene once or twice in your mind. It's not a long ritual, it's a snapshot, a quick reset. Your main objective is regenerating, even for an instant, the feeling of fulfilled desire. Each of these snapshots is like a fresh coat of paint on the new canvas, making it increasingly vivid and dominant. It's like looking at a photo of your vacation destination to remind yourself where you're heading in the middle of a stressful workday. It keeps the new reality in your consciousness's foreground. Chapter 4. The Empty Vessel. On the art of receiving from birth, we've been taught that growth is an accumulation process. We accumulate knowledge in school, accumulate experiences in life, accumulate possessions to demonstrate our success, accumulate beliefs, certainties, opinions. We believe in the deepest part of our programming that the more we know, the fuller we are, the more valuable and powerful we become. The ego delights in this idea. Its identity is built on what it knows. It clings to its opinions, conclusions, old stories as if they were treasure. A mind full of certainties is a mind that feels secure, a mind that illusorily believes it has control. But the forbidden knowledge Florence Scovel Shinn taught reveals an inverted truth. To be able to receive the new idea, new solution, new opportunity, new version of yourself, you must first make space. You must first empty yourself. Imagine you're a teacup. If you're already full to the brim with your old ideas, prejudices, your way of seeing the world, your stories about who you are and how things should be, how can you receive the fresh wisdom the universe yearns to pour into you every instant? Any new drop of knowledge, inspiration, or grace will simply spill over the sides without being able to enter. A mind that knows everything is a mind that has stopped learning. A full glass is a useless glass for creation's purpose. It's in the void, in receptivity, in the space of not knowing where the true power of creation and revelation resides. The physics of void, receptivity as frequency. This isn't merely a philosophical principle. It's a law of energy, of vibration. When your mind is full of judgments, rigid expectations, the need to be right, your past story, your vibrational state is contraction and resistance. You're a sealed fortress, a closed system. Energetically, you're shouting to the universe, I don't need anything new. I already know everything. I'm not open. My reality is this and cannot change. When, conversely, you cultivate a state of emptiness, curiosity, openness, wonder, beginner's mind, your vibrational state is expansion and receptivity. You're an open channel, a magnetic vortex. Your frequency is an invitation, a welcome. You're telling the universe, I'm ready to receive. Surprise me. Show me something new. And the universe, which always responds to your frequency, obeys. To the full and resistant mind, it reflects its own rigidity, presenting again and again a reality confirming its old, limited beliefs. It's a self-validation loop. To the empty and receptive mind, it pours its secrets. The inspiration solving the problem, the synchronicity opening the door, the intuitive guidance revealing the shortcut, the solution appearing from nowhere. The miracle cannot enter a space already occupied by your certainty. To empty our glass, we must first be conscious of the heavy, bulky stones filling it. The three great ego blockages preventing us from receiving the universe's grace. The stone of certainty, the I already know. This is the heaviest, densest stone. It's the intellect's arrogance believing it has deciphered reality's map. It's the mind that before a new idea, instead of exploring it with curiosity, immediately compares it with its existing knowledge archive and labels it, "This is impossible. This is nonsense. I've heard this before, and it didn't work." This mind doesn't seek truth. It seeks confirmation of what it already believes is true. The glass is so full of past facts, there's no space for new possibility. It's the expert's mind that is often the blindest of all. The stone of the past. The I am this way. This stone is made of hardened cement of our personal history. They're the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, the labels we've accepted as our fixed, immutable identity. I'm shy. I'm not a creative person. I'm not good with money. I've always had bad luck in love. When we cling to these stories, when we repeat them to ourselves and others, we fill our glass with the past, preventing any different future from entering. The I am this way story becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because the universe, like a mirror, can only reflect the identity we declare ourselves to be. The stone of control, the it must be this way. Finally, there's the stone of rigid expectation. It's the mind that not only has a clear desire, but has decided, with an engineer's precision, exactly how, when, and through whom it must manifest. It tries to impose its limited script on the universe's director. Any opportunity, solution, or ally not fitting its preconceived plan is discarded, ignored, or sabotaged. This mind, in its attempt to control creation to feel secure, blinds itself to magic, synchronicity, and the cosmos's infinite creativity. It's the film director, so obsessed with their own script, they don't notice the brilliant improvisation their actors are offering. These three stones, certainty, story, and control, fill our glass to the brim, making us a closed system, incapable of receiving the shower of blessings the universe yearns to pour over us every instant. The first practice, the art of not knowing, beginner's mind. Discipline. To dissolve certainty's stone, you practice the art of not knowing. You become a devoted practitioner of what Zen masters call shoshin, or beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is empty, has no preconceptions, is full of curiosity and wonder. It approaches each day, each conversation, each new piece of information, not from the expert's position who already has all answers, but from the curious students who is open to surprise, miracle, the possibility of being wrong. The not knowing protocol. Adopt the mantra. Make this question yours. What if everything I think I know about this were wrong or incomplete? Use it as mental solvent. Apply it to your political opinions, health beliefs, ideas about your own limitations. Practice empty. Listening. In your next conversation, try listening without the filter of your own response. Instead of formulating your reply while the other person speaks, simply empty yourself and receive their words. Try to understand their world instead of defending yours. perform a don't know day. For an entire day, commit to releasing the need to have an opinion about everything. When a topic arises, instead of declaring your certainty, simply observe with curiosity. This simple practice creates fissures in your certainty's rock, allowing new light to enter. It frees you from the exhausting burden of always having to be right and opens you to the possibility of discovering a greater, more liberating truth. The second practice, identity dissolution, the I am not meditation. To dissolve the past stone, the I am this way story, you practice identity dissolution. This is a deep via negativa meditation, not to annihilate yourself, but to find yourself. The liberation protocol. You sit in silence, close your eyes, and begin a negation mantra. With each exhalation, you release a label. I am not my job. I am not my achievements. I am not my failures. Feel those heavy garments fall to the ground. I am not my story. I am not my past traumas. I am not my parents' opinions. Feel the past's chains dissolve. I am not this body. I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. You continue this disidentification process, releasing each label your ego clings to for definition. And what remains when you've released everything you're not? A space remains, a silent, empty, pure consciousness. The sky remains, not the clouds. In that silence, you realize you're not the story. You're the consciousness aware of the story. And as consciousness, you're free. The third practice, surrendering control, the miracle clause. Finally, to dissolve control's stone, you practice intelligent surrender. After establishing your intention, after drawing your blueprint in the inner eye, after charging it with your emotion, you perform the final act of liberation. You add the clause that changes everything. I accept this or something better, for my highest good and that of everyone involved. This isn't an act of doubt. It's an act of humility and supreme wisdom. It's recognition that your vision, however magnificent, is limited, and that universal intelligence, with its cosmic perspective, may have an even grander, more perfect plan for you. By releasing your attachment to how, when, and exact form, you give the universe freedom to orchestrate miracles on your behalf, to surprise you with gifts your limited mind hadn't even dared to ask for. This clause is the key opening the door to the miraculous. The fourth practice, the question to the void, the oracle of silence. You don't empty yourself for the simple fact of being empty. You empty yourself to be filled by superior intelligence. Once you've cultivated the state of emptiness through previous practices, you perform the purest act of reception. In your meditation, after emptying yourself of your certainties, your story, and your control, you remain in that fertile silence. And in that silence, you cast a gentle question, without expectations. What is my next inspired step? What do I need to understand about this situation? Show me the way. And then you don't seek the answer, don't think, don't analyze. You simply remain in the void, in a state of total listening with your entire being. The answer won't come as logical thought. It will come as intuitive whisper, as an image floating in your mind, as serene knowing emerging from nothing, or as a feeling of peace flooding you. You've learned to stop shouting your plans to the universe and start listening to its secrets. Chapter 5. The Power of Single Focus, the Seed That Becomes Forest. We're taught to juggle a dozen projects, pursue 20 goals, divide our attention in 100 directions. We're applauded for being busy, for having many open fronts. And in doing so, without realizing it, we condemn ourselves to powerlessness disguised as activity. The untrained mind is like an inexperienced, enthusiastic general. It possesses an army of immense power, its attention energy, but instead of consolidating its forces to win the most important battle, the one that would secure victory in the war, it disperses its troops on a dozen fronts at once. A little energy for the health improvement platoon, a little for the earn more money division, little for the find love unit, a little for the learn a new language squadron. The result is each platoon of its energetic army is weak, poorly equipped, demoralized, and easily defeated by old programming's well-entrenched resistance and current circumstances. The general is incredibly busy, running from one battle to another, but wins no wars. At day's end, they feel exhausted and frustrated, looking at their life's map and not understanding why, despite their many desires and immense effort, their territory hasn't expanded. The problem is power dilution. Your creative power, your attention, is a relatively finite quantity at any given moment. By dividing it among 10 objectives, you're giving each only 10% of your strength. And 10% of your power isn't enough to deeply impress your subconscious. It's not enough to create an electromagnetic signal coherent enough to organize the quantum field. It's like trying to water 10 thirsty plants with a single glass of water. The result isn't 10 healthy plants, but 10 dying plants. The physics of focus, the magnifying glass's power. Florence Scovel Shinn, initiated in this knowledge, understood a fundamental truth of physics, one she observed as a child on a sunny day. Imagine your consciousness energy is like sunlight bathing a field on a summer noon. It's vast, omnipresent, but diffuse energy. It gently warms the earth, nurtures life, but lacks the power to initiate radical transformation, to ignite fire. An intention, a desire, is like a magnifying glass. When you take all the scattered rays of your consciousness and focus them through a single desire's magnifying glass, at one precise point, something miraculous happens. The previously diffuse energy concentrates, intensifies, becomes coherent. That point becomes incandescent, begins to smoke, and finally, with sustained focus, bursts into flames. You've created fire from sunlight. You've created tangible manifestation from consciousness's invisible energy. That's focus. That's manifestation. The law of single focus doesn't ask you to renounce your other desires forever. It asks you to strategically postpone them. It asks for the wisdom of a general who knows that to win the war, they must first win the most strategic battle, the one that will cut the enemy's supply lines and demoralize their troops. You choose your main objective, your master seed. Consolidate all your forces, your visualization power, emotional power, repetition power, action power, and direct a massive, focused assault on that single objective, ignoring for a time the minor skirmishes. Once you've achieved that first great manifestation, two transformative things happen. Your faith in the law and in yourself becomes unshakable. You've moved from intellectual belief to experience certainty. Now you know you're a creator. You've created massive momentum. From the power position of your first success, from the summit of the first conquered mountain, manifesting the following desires becomes exponentially easier. The confidence you've gained becomes an asset accelerating all your future investments. The seed becoming a forest doesn't do so by magic. It does so because for a time all Earth's energy, all sun, all water concentrated on nurturing a single small sprout until it became strong and unstoppable. The first practice, the art of choice, primordial desire. Clarification. To focus your power, you must first know where to aim. The conscious creator's first act is clarification. You must choose your target. You take your journal and perform an honest, brave inventory of your desires. You write all goals, all longings competing for your attention. Improve my health, earn more money, find a partner, write a book, travel the world. And then for each, you ask yourself the strategist's question, the key question. If I could only achieve one of these things in the next 6 to 12 months, which one would make all others easier or irrelevant? This isn't an easy question. It requires brutal honesty. It forces you to differentiate between your ego's whims and your soul's true callings. Another powerful question is, what desire, if I achieve it, will make me the person I need to be to manifest everything else with ease? Often the correct goal isn't an external goal, money, but one of internal growth, unshakable confidence, that then produces money as a natural side effect. You meditate on these questions, feel each option in your body, and finally choose. You choose your master seed, and once you've chosen it, You write it at the top of a new journal page with absolute clarity and specificity. This is now your only objective. All other desires become secondary support or are placed on a waiting list. The second practice, the monastic vow, the sacred no. Once the objective has been chosen, the creator must consolidate their troops, must protect their energy from leaks. Their practice is the monastic vow. They make a sacred vow with themselves. For a determined period, 90 days, 6 months, a year, they commit to dedicating 90% of their creative energy, practice time, and focus to this single objective. This means they must have the courage to say no. It's the sacred no to distraction. Say no to new, brilliant business ideas that will inevitably appear to tempt you. Note them gratefully on a maybe for later list and return to your main objective. Say no to requests for your time and energy that don't align with your mission, learning to set boundaries with love but firmness. Say no to distractions and pastimes that drain your focus power and don't nourish your soul. This vow isn't an act of deprivation. It's an act of power and self-respect. It's the declaration that your vision is so important you're willing to sacrifice the good for the excellent. It's the athlete who renounces parties to prepare for the Olympics. The third practice, total immersion, the reality bubble. Finally, the creator knows that for their subconscious to accept a new reality, they must immerse themselves in it until it becomes more real than their external world. Their practice is total immersion. They surround themselves with their objective's frequency. Environmental immersion. Their environment becomes an altar to their vision. If their goal is writing a book, their desk is impeccable. Their writing tools are ready. Perhaps they have a picture of their favorite author in sight. Informational immersion. The books they read, podcasts they listen to, videos they watch, conversations they participate in, everything is deliberately chosen to nourish their objective, give them new ideas, keep them inspired and in the correct frequency. They become a world expert in their vision. Social immersion. They actively seek and spend time with people who have already achieved what they desire or are on the same path. They join a mastermind group, hire a mentor, surround themselves with evidence that their goal is possible. Imaginative immersion, and most importantly, all their inner workshop power, their scientific prayer, nocturnal projection, subconscious lullaby, is now focused like a laser on imprinting this single desire's reality in their being's depths. They create a reality bubble in which their goal isn't a future objective. It's the only dominant reality of their present. The fourth practice, the creator's cycle, focused action. Focus can't be maintained linearly for endless hours. That leads to exhaustion. The focus master works in cycles, alternating periods of total immersion with periods of rest and recharge. The creator's cycle protocol. Choose your investment. At your day's beginning, choose the most important task, bringing you closer to your single objective. The 90-minute sprint. Set a 90-minute timer. During this time, you completely immerse yourself in the task. No phone, no email, no distractions. It's a total focus sprint. Conscious rest, 20-30 minutes. When the timer sounds, you stop and completely step away from the task. Take a walk, meditate, listen to music, do nothing. Allow your conscious mind to rest so your subconscious mind can integrate and work in the background. Repeat. You can perform 2 to 3 of these cycles in a day. This method allows you to achieve a state of deep, high-performance work sustainably, without burning out. Chapter 6. Divine Flow. On allowing life to write itself through you. The conscious creator in their early stages operates from the director's identity, chooses vision, focuses intention, moves quantum chess pieces. It's a state of immense power, a quantum leap above victim consciousness, but still implies a degree of effort, control, subtle separation. There still exists an I that directs and a universe that is directed. And this state, though effective, can be exhausting. It's the burden of total responsibility, constant pressure of having to do everything right, maintain focus, sustain vibration. It's the director's loneliness carrying the entire production's weight on their shoulders. The 33rd degree knowledge, the final wisdom of this codex that Florence Scovel-Shinn reserved for her most advanced students, invites you to take one more step beyond. It invites you to release even the prestigious role of director. It invites you to abdicate the maker's throne to become something infinitely more powerful, relaxed, and effective. The channel philosophy, the bamboo flute secret. Imagine a perfectly carved and polished bamboo flute. By itself, it cannot create music. It's a simple hollow tube, silent, empty. But when the musician's breath flows through it, it becomes a channel for the most beautiful melody. Its power doesn't reside in what it does or the effort it makes, but in how hollow, how clean, and how open it is to allow music to flow without obstructions. You are that flute, and universal intelligence, God's mind, the Tao, is the musician. Your greatest works, most brilliant ideas, most perfect and synchronized actions aren't born from you. They're not generated by your small, limited self, by your intellect that only knows the past. They're born through you. They're the universe's breathtaking form in your instrument's unique expression. Florence Scovel-Shinn, initiated in this secret, stopped trying to be creation's origin and focused with total devotion on becoming the purest channel for it. Her work was no longer creating, but allowing. Her practice was no longer effort, but emptying. The expanded allegory of the scribe's quill. In an ancient library lost among time's sands lived a scribe named Kel. Kel wasn't just any scribe. He was the most disciplined, most erudite, most ambitious of his order. His dream, the obsession consuming his days and nights, was writing the most perfect story ever told, one revealing the cosmos's secrets. Each day he sat before an immaculate parchment. His mind, a vast archive of philosophy, science, and poetry, bubbled with grandiose ideas, complex structures, eloquent phrases, but his hand, holding the quill, often remained paralyzed by his own ambition's weight, by the atrocious fear of not being good enough, of not doing justice to the story he longed to tell. He forced words, struggled with syntax, constructed sentences like an engineer builds a bridge, with logic and effort. He erased them, frustrated, staining the parchment. His efforts, after weeks of torment, produced technically correct texts, impeccable in grammar, but dead. They lacked soul, spark, the divine. They were a craftsman's work, not an artist's. One night, after a particularly arduous day of fruitless struggle, Kel broke. Exhaustion finally overcame his iron will. He dropped the quill on the stained parchment and whispered to the moonlit library's silence, "I cannot. I have failed. All my wisdom and effort aren't enough. I surrender. If there's a story that must be told, let it be told through me, because I, Kel, no longer have the strength to write it." And in that act of total surrender, complete emptying of his director ego, he fell deeply asleep at his desk. He didn't dream, or rather his entire being became a dream. His consciousness dissolved into the library's silence, into moonlight, into the wisdom of thousands of books surrounding him. Upon awakening with dawn's first light, feeling sun on his face, he sat up with back pain but a strange sensation of peace. And then he looked down. The parchment before him, which the night before was stained with failures, was now filled with exquisite, fluid, perfect calligraphy. It was his handwriting, but at the same time it wasn't. It was more elegant, more confident. With pounding heart, he began to read. The words didn't tell a story. They sang one. They narrated a soul's epic, a truth so profound, so simple and beautiful that tears sprang from his eyes and ran down his cheeks. It wasn't the story he had tried to write. It was the story he had longed to read. His hand, while his ego slept the sleep of surrender, had moved, guided by an invisible force, by the universe's breath. He had become the quill, and the cosmos had been the scribe. This is divine flow's essence. It's the art of releasing the ego's quill and allowing the universe's hand to write your life's magnificent, unexpected story. The first practice, the art of emptying, the fertile void. Ritual: to be a pure channel, you must first be empty. The universe cannot pour its wisdom into a glass already full to the brim with your ego's opinions, plans, agendas, and anxieties. Your most fundamental practice, therefore, is conscious emptying. The morning emptying protocol. Each morning, before your intention practice, before deciding what song you want to sing, you dedicate 10-15 minutes to becoming silence. Written release. You sit with your journal and for 5 minutes perform a mental download. You write uncensored everything filling your glass, your worries, task list, frustrations. It's not to analyze them, it's to get them out of your system and onto paper. Upon finishing, you close the journal with intention. I leave this here for now. I choose emptiness. Meditation as listening. Now you sit in silence. Your meditation practice changes purpose once more. You no longer sit to concentrate or feel. You sit to empty yourself. You release your plans for the day. You release your worries about yesterday and tomorrow. You release your identity, roles, name. You become a space, vast, silent, expectant space. And in that silence, you simply listen, without expecting anything particular. You don't seek a voice or vision. You seek silence itself. You're creating the hollowness, the fertile void through which the universe's breath can begin flowing. The second practice, the art of following impulse. Divine obedience. Divine Flow's inspiration doesn't arrive as a 10-step plan or complete business strategy. It arrives as a whisper, as a small, illogical impulse, as a golden thread hanging from heaven, inviting you to pull it without knowing where it leads. The sudden idea to call an old friend, the inexplicable impulse to go to a particular bookstore or take a different street. The sudden curiosity to research a topic apparently unrelated to your goals. The ego's logical mind, the director, often dismisses these impulses as distractions, nonsense, or unproductive procrastination. Florence Scovel Shinn, initiated in Divine Flow, knew these are the golden threads with which the universe weaves its synchronicity tapestry. They're the symphony's first notes. Your practice is obedience to intuition. When you receive one of these impulses, you subject it to the somatic compass test. Does it feel light and expansive? If the answer is yes, act on it immediately if possible, without knowing why, without needing a complete map. You trust the first step. Often it's obedience to that small, illogical impulse, calling that friend, that puts you in the exact place, at the exact moment, for the great synchronicity. That friend mentions your life's opportunity to occur. The third practice, the art of joyful work, the resonance compass. The ego works from effort, discipline, and tension. Its fuel is willpower. The soul, when in flow, works from joy. Its fuel is inspiration. Your compass for knowing if you're acting as a channel or ego is the feeling accompanying action. If your work feels heavy, forced, like constant struggle, like pushing a river, it's a sign you're operating from ego, rowing against current. If your work feels light, energizing, if you lose track of time while doing it, if ideas flow effortlessly, it's the unmistakable sign you're in divine flow. Your practice is recalibration through joy. Constantly throughout your workday, you pause and ask yourself, where is the joy? On a scale of 1-10, how much of this feels like play and how much like obligation? If the answer is low, don't give up, simply recalibrate. Ask yourself, what small adjustment can I make so this task feels more like play? Perhaps it's playing music, changing environment, taking a brief break, or most importantly, surrendering the problem to universal intelligence and asking for new perspective. By following joy's compass, you stay aligned with flow's channel. The fourth practice, the art of reception, honoring transmission. When a brilliant idea, problem solution, or perfect poetry line comes to you from flow, the ego has an immediate instinct. Claim ownership. What a great idea I've had. I'm a genius. This act of claiming authorship, the though it seems natural, can begin closing the channel. It's as if the flute became proud of the music and forgot the musician. The master's final practice is humble reception art. When you receive one of these inspiration downloads, you pause and silently or aloud say, "Thank you." It's not thanks to yourself, it's gratitude to the source, to universal intelligence, for choosing you as its channel in that moment. This simple act of gratitude and humility keeps you in your correct place. It reminds you that you're not the origin, but the vehicle. And by honoring transmission source, you ensure the channel remains open, clean, and ready to receive even more. Now, before continuing with the final chapters, I want to remind you of something crucial. If you haven't done so yet, write in the comments, "I accept the 33rd degree knowledge." By doing so, you're not only declaring your commitment to this wisdom, but joining an invisible network of conscious creators. Each person writing this phrase strengthens the manifestation energy field, benefiting everyone forming part of this brotherhood. Your participation isn't just for you. It's an act of service, elevating collective vibration and accelerating our entire community's manifestations. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving this forbidden knowledge. Activate the bell to be notified each time we release a new revelation. Share this message with someone ready to awaken to their true power. Together, we are an unstoppable force of conscious creation. The transformation you've initiated tonight is only the beginning. The deepest secrets are yet to be revealed. But remember, once you know these truths, you can no longer pretend you don't know them. Your life will never be the same again. May the power of conscious creation flow through you and manifest in ways surpassing your greatest dreams. The universe is waiting for you. It's time to reclaim your place as reality's master.